Hey everyone, welcome to Real Talk Savannah. And we have a special guest. We have a business from Broughton Street. I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Melissa Monge. I'm the co-owner of Sea Love Savannah. We just opened in mid-December. This is our first storefront business in Savannah on Broughton Street. So we're excited to be here. My partner, Sarah Brown, and I started in Hilton Head 1 year ago. So 1 year apart from when we opened that. And so we opened in Hilton Head in Sea Pines, and then we figured and knew that we needed to bring it to Savannah.
So what I want to talk about on today's podcast is kind of the difference. We'll start with her process in Savannah. One of the things I want to do with this podcast is kind of help people navigate opening and running a business in this sought after. That Broughton Street is like the shopping street downtown, and really the shopping street now in Savannah, because the south side, the malls, things are, since even pre-COVID, we're doing pretty bad, and then COVID went south, but there's still strong shopping, a lot of places, a lot of tourists, but a lot of the locals come down here to shop too. So I just want to talk about the process in Savannah with opening a business. Tell us a little bit, from day one. Let's start with day one. You decided to come here. What was the first step?
Well, let's see. It took us...
When you found the location, did you look
We found the location in July, so we signed the lease in November.
Okay.
I will tell you, let's just start with finding the location.
Okay.
You see a lot of vacancies, but it's not that easy to get somebody to call you back. Every property that was vacant, I would reach out to, and I would get no one. So we actually brought in our outside broker from Sea Love's a franchise. So I was like, if you guys really want us in Savannah, I need your help. So they gave me a brokerage firm that's not even located in here, and we went from there.
Wow. And they were able to move because the broker.
Yeah. So
is it the people who had their for lease sign in the windows that you were contacting?
Yeah, and I felt like I kept getting, if I got a response, they would say, sorry, we want a restaurant in here. We want a restaurant, but it would say restaurant retail space. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So because before we opened in Hilton Head, we were looking in Savannah. And I was like, this is way too hard. If it was meant to be, it would happen so much faster, and it didn't. So we found the space in Hilton and we're like, let's start here. So we found the space in July, going back and forth, negotiations. I mean, I was like, I'm going to lose sleep over this because of how much.
Because you get excited walking down Broughton Street, and then you're like, okay, then it hits you. They're not open to all retail, or they want restaurant. They're picky about what they put in there, which is wild to me because we have so many restaurants, but there's not as much shopping, or there's not nearly as much shopping.
Well, and what they're charging per square foot, it's a lot.
So let's talk about the rate on Broughton Street. It is kind of wild. Like, how has it been? In the beginning, it's probably hit you like a brick. Like, Savannah seems kind of tiny, and the rent is much higher here than it is in Hilton Head for you.
I mean, Hilton Head's pretty high, and we got a good spot where we are, so it is significantly lower. You can negotiate that square footage, you get it down, but then you have the CAM on top of that. Yeah. So that's
except for those of you triple net, it's property taxes, the property tax, the insurance,
insurance.
So the business owner, this is very common in the real estate world, in the commercial real estate world. For the tenant, especially in a high volume area, like for a commercial tenant to have to pay the property tax and insurance on the building, the CAM, the triple net. It calls triple net. It's called CAM.
Yeah, CAM, triple net. Yeah. So that's like, then you're like, okay, well, the rent's great. You get it down, and then
you got to get that payment.
And you can't negotiate that, right? So it is what it is, and you're in or you're out. So
right,
and if you could just afford to buy your own space and own it yourself,
Right.
But you just can't all the time.
Yeah, there's no inventory, and there's no inventory for sale, so that's not even. There's nothing for sale in Broughton Street right now, but not to my knowledge. So then you have to deal with rent, and then you get past that, you negotiate it, you get it, to the point where you will sign the lease. I'm sure you weren't thrilled completely,
No,
but it is scary. It's very
Yeah.
scary. I mean,
It gets to the point they're like, we're not negotiating anything, and you're in or you're out. And
Yeah.
so that's what it got to. It was November, and I'm like, well, I'm not going through this again with another brokerage firm or putting anyone else through this of just the space and go back and forth and stuff. So we signed in November, and okay, great, we got the space, but how long is it going to take us to open, right? So you never know what it all entails. Getting the business license, there's a lot of steps.
Yeah, let's talk about the city. The city has multiple departments. They have the MPC, they've got the historical, they've got the business center, you've got the county, you've got the city, you've got the state. So let's go through that. Like, what did you have to do first? Apply for a business license.
Yeah, but you can't apply for a business license until you get approval for the business.
The location.
Yeah, so you have to get approval that you can have this type of business
at its location.
And it says it all over before you apply for the business license, like, stop, did you get approval? So then you set up a meeting with, I forget his name, and you go through that.
And how long did it take? Because I know it took me forever to get, I filled out the application for the location, and then it took me forever to get a call back or to get that meeting scheduled.
It wasn't that long because they have a calendar, and I don't know if they had that when you were doing it.
So I'm reapplying. I let mine lapse, so I have to do stuff again.
So I went on the calendar and picked my date and time, so I got on it.
Gotcha.
But, and had that, and then I got that approval because this used to be a retail space, but then it was an office space. So they went back and said, oh, there used to be one there, so this is easier, right?
Yeah, it's so silly.
So we got that approval. That was one of the
There's no reason that there should not be a retail space. It's on a retail street. The fact that they were it's silly that they went back and forth for a second. Anyway, that just drives.
So, but I because we opened in Hilton Head, I'm like, oh, this is easy. We're just going to do all the same things. I would think both states were kind of similar,
right?
But they're not. So then we have an alcohol license so back to business. Well, so we got that approval. We applied for the business license. And we got that, but it took a while. It wasn't like a turnaround thing. So if you think you're going to get your business license and open the next day.
How long do you think that
maybe
took?
A week or so. Or maybe a little more. It might have been like
That's not bad.
It might have been like 2 weeks.
Yeah. But it's not. It's all the things. You get a checklist. Like, it's all the things.
Yeah,
you have to do a background check.
That's the alcohol license. Yeah. I do one for the business
I had to do one for a business license.
Okay, so we might have done that.
Yeah.
I couldn't keep it all straight. Sorry.
There's like a list that they send you, and the first one is the locations, and then there's other things like I had to do my ID and do my lease.
Yeah. That's why it took me longer. I didn't give everything the first time. And you have to mail it in. So I had to mail it because, I reside in South Carolina. So I was like, I'm just going to mail it. Well, that was a mistake because if I went there, it would have been less time for them to tell me I'm missing something to get it back to them. So none of the submittal process is online.
No.
You have to mail. And so they mailed me back all the paperwork. And said, and with a letter.
Oh, because they want it all together. They're not going to make a file for you.
Nope.
Which would make sense.
And
they're not going to make
a file. Gosh.
They don't want to be responsible for the document, so they'd rather pay for postage, just send it back to you than keep up with it. So when you visit there, you live here and you visit there and you take them, they send you away with items and you come back and then they'll say, we don't do, I remember it had to be notarized, and on the paper it says there is a note, we can notarize it, but they don't actually have the notary there. So I had to go, I'm like, it says on here, you'll notarize it.
Right. And they're like, the notary sits upstairs, so we don't know when the notary is here. I'm like, okay, I forgot about all the notary. I had to go get notaries multiple times. Thing? I'm like,
because on the paperwork, it makes it look like you should go there to get it notarized, but the notary's never there. And then the one lady told me when I went that they don't notarize it there. And I was like, it says it on the paper. But anyway, they don't. There's major disconnects. It's like the wild, wild west. It's like I feel like we're in the Hunger Games, and like we have to figure out all the pieces of the puzzle to survive.
Well, and just think, we're one of them. Like, how many people are they employing to get this stuff done? Like, how many departments
actually don't do anything. I'm sorry. It just feels like one person could handle all of that right there, but it's not. It's different departments, it's different locations, it's different people. And then they don't want to, anyway, it's wild. So you got past that. It luckily only took you a couple weeks. I do know business owners it's taken them months.
Goodness.
So then the next,
so
what about the permits? What about the build out? What about that portion of?
So because it used to be a retail space, I didn't have to get built out permits. So we were very fortunate.
Which restaurants deal with a lot because you have to get. It doesn't matter if there was a restaurant there prior. You have to
do
pass all the rules.
more for wanting the alcohol license. So that took.
And what is your reason for wanting alcohol? I know because retail, you've got to have something experiential, something to serve, some service, something experiential or immersive or something to get people in, because retail is boring now because we're also stimulated and everything's so easy to get online. You have to bring in something like that.
Well, so
to make it, to survive.
Hilton Head, we have a beer and wine license. It was so simple to get, so fast.
Tell us about the difference.
It was just so fast. Like it was like literally you fill out an application, you submit your background check or I think we got fingerprints then, and you wait. They had to put a sign on your window for a certain amount of time, which Savannah does as well. So people can oppose to it, like say,
if it was a small neighborhood, it's usually like a neighborhood. So they're like,
but it was like a 2-3 week turnaround, maybe a month tops that I got it. In Savannah, what I didn't realize is that they just don't give alcohol licenses to everyone. You would think.
Yeah, it says on the application it's a privilege, not a right, which I don't really understand that because it is a right. If you are allowing someone next door, I feel like the business owner has a right to be treated equally based on their neighbors, and being treated equally based on the open container laws. We're just going to let people walk around with it, but we're not going to let them come in here. Anyway, we'll go there.
Oh, my goodness.
So did you get your complimentary alcohol license? Complimentary means you can offer this to people. You're not even selling it.
Correct. But I didn't know that. I thought I filled out the alcohol license for beer and wine. We don't need to sell liquor. I mean, we're making candles here. So the reason is because everybody will enjoy wine and candles, or a mimosa and candles goes really well together. So it's been a hit for us in our other location.
Right.
I filled out the alcohol license. You have to go in front of a review committee. That's where I learned. So you have to wait because they only have it like once a month. So you have to schedule it. And that's a whole panel of people. And then you sit in the front of the room. They're the audience. And you have to go around to each one that plays a part in you.
And they'll say yes or no.
But that's where I learned that I can't even get one to sell. I was like, what? So they're like, now you have a choice to make. Like, you can turn Sea Love into a bar, but you cannot have anyone under the age of 21 sit at the bar, and you can sell alcohol and make candles. And I was like, well, I'm not doing that. And so I'm like, I don't want to be a bar. I just want someone to enjoy it.
Like if they're of age and they want a glass of wine.
But they can't even come make a candle and sit at the bar if I went the route.
But they can at the restaurant because they're being served food. They can sit at a table with a kid, have a beer.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. So that makes so if there's a hamburger involved, it's okay.
Yeah. I was so confused. So it's like, I'm like, what is happening right now? So
it's very Judge Judy up in there. I've been in there. It could be recorded. It would be a hit television show.
So I go the route. I was like, I actually thought about it, and I'm like, no, we do not want to be a bar. I am not dealing with that. So, I mean, we get kids that come in here. I mean, even if you're 20 years old, I'm going to say you can't make a candle because we serve beer. So we went the route of complimentary.
Yeah, because you weren't trying to make money off alcohol. You were just trying to have something, a beverage for someone while they're doing
about experience, right? And let's be real. We're a city.
And it's what you are doing in Hilton Head. So you're like, I just want to do the same thing. And and because it's a bachelorette city, it's a perfect thing. They come in, they book their, they book their event, they book their candle making, and if there's champagne involved. So now you're going the complimentary route. Did you get that? How's that going?
We just got it. So
Okay,
we
good.
started November. We started in November. What is it? It's March. We got it a week ago.
Okay.
A week or two ago.
Okay.
So so after we went through the approval process, we finally got approved in Savannah, but the next step is you have to go to the state. So now you have to go get another license, pay more money to go through the process with the state. So you have to have a Georgia alcohol license and a Savannah alcohol license.
Yeah. And so is the Georgia one any simpler, easier than the
you have
city?
to fill out an application. I didn't have to.
So they don't communicate. I'm not shocked with that. They don't communicate with each other because just when you.
They might just a tad because I was like, can't you just call the city and get that or this? But because it was complimentary, the process was much easier for me. She was setting me up for a whole nother list of things to do. And then I was like, no, we're just complimentary. And she's like, oh, that's much easier.
Okay, good.
You need to supply this, another little checklist. And so then we got that. But in the meantime, you have to have this all inspected for fire. From the fire, and that's what held us up even longer in Savannah.
Wait, if that has to do with the complimentary alcohol, you have to have the fire department.
Yeah, you have to pass their inspection
to serve alcohol.
Yeah.
And what is that inspection? What does a firefighter? What is? Oh wait, it's the fire marshal.
The fire
marshal. What is the fire marshal?
And he had to come. He had to come back because we didn't pass. So we had some sprinklers not up to par.
But what does this have to do with serving someone a glass of champagne? Like I could see, that should have been involved with the business license, in my opinion, because if people are coming in here to spend money and it catches on fire, and you need to know that your sprinkler system for any business owner, but no, only if you have alcohol. Like what sense does that make?
Type of a fire alarm training, a fire
for alcohol, not for business
training.
So if you're sober, you can burn the F up, but if you're if you had some alcohol in you, we need to make sure that there's a sprinkler system before you drink a drop of alcohol. Do you see? I mean, how much that makes more sense for just the business license. Nope, just only the people who drink get fire safety. I mean, okay, let's keep going. This is so fun.
While this shock to me, I'm like, oh, like I just went through it, so I'm like,
it makes you dizzy.
You're like, just ran this.
And this was not the case in Hilton Head, our sister city right next door. Nothing like this. Wow, we should be very proud.
I know. So that's pretty much like just so many things you have to jump through to open, to serve alcohol, to provide amenities, and when you're a small business owner, the time's ticking, right? You're like, I need to get doors and revenue in here to stay open. And so another thing I didn't realize, like, I didn't even think of this, but I'm like, okay, we need exterior signs. Oh, you need a permit for that too.
Wait, let's talk about that process. So you said that you have to have a separate permit for each decal.
Getting a ticket.
You're getting a ticket?
Yeah.
A parking ticket?
Can you stop?
Speak of the city, let's handle this. So the signage, you have to pay a permit for each decal.
Yes. Okay. So I use Sign Design. I use them for my signage in Hilton Head.
Okay.
I use Brian. He actually lives here, so he's really savvy on
he knows the rules.
Yeah, he knows the rules. He lives in Savannah. He does a lot of signage on this road and Broughton. So he's like, listen, I can help you with this. We even apply for the permits for you. We know what needs to be submitted.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, that's super helpful.
But I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening right now? I keep saying that. No, not out there. So he did all the drawings for the signage after and he kind of pushes you towards what he knows will get approved because other stores on.
Yeah, so you can't be real creative with it because you're stuck in a box. That's good.
No.
Good job, Savannah.
No, which I don't understand how T-Mobile has this pink awning.
If it was there before, because there's some big signage at the barbecue place on York Street. No one would ever be able to do a sign that big now. But because the business that was there before somehow got approved. So that sign. So if someone in the history of signage before they became the new person came in and decided they didn't like that size, that is grandfathered in. So
that makes sense.
It's, if it's like, what do you call it? Whenever they're grandfathered in, but if you change it and try to go back to the big, it's done. So like there's a signage, you'll know it now. It's the barbecue place on York Street. It's right by this awesome vintage place. And they have a huge, amazing sign that you can see from miles away. And Sorry Charlie's kept the original signage from Sorry Charlie's, because once you go small, you can't. Yeah.
That makes
sense. So T-Mobile may have like been grandfathered in with the size of the sign. That's why there's inconsistencies.
So sign design, we say, okay, let's move forward with these. Let's give it a shot. We had a couple drawings, the decals, but so they submitted the decal permit first instead of waiting for us to finish like what we exactly wanted on the exterior first.
And wait, one more thing. Here it's a franchise. So did you have to change anything with the franchise rules?
No, but I had to get franchise approval on the signage. So there was a lot of going back and forth on it, just so it was up to brand and stuff.
Gotcha.
Fine. I get that part. So I guess there's a certificate of appropriateness or something, I think it's called, that has to get approved with the city before you can go for permit.
I wonder how that's Better Than Sex got approved for appropriateness.
I don't know if it's the business name. I think it's the sign.
Okay. I'm just I'm shocked that just went like appropriateness in size that fits. Yeah, I get it. I just
so like you wait on that. I think I'm pretty sure.
And you still don't have all of your
exterior signs.
And you guys have been open.
The permit hasn't been approved yet. We opened mid-December.
Wow.
And what I learned as I talk to and network and build relationships around here, it's everyone's problem.
Yep.
Like so many people are like,
so
it took me 6 months to get ours. I'm like,
yeah, you have to have it's $250 for a sandwich board with my business, a sandwich board.
Let's talk about that.
You can't just put a sandwich
board
out.
Everybody gets fined if it's touching the city sidewalk.
Oh my Lord.
$125 fine every time they come by. And a lot of businesses are like, we'll pay it. That's like less than marketing, right? We'd rather have the sign out.
Oh, so they want it to be like
it can't touch
in the oh my gosh.
It can't touch the brick.
So they just pay it and keep it out there?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, it really
So ours is inside, but what's that?
Okay, so that's a sandwich board. You still haven't got your signage approved and you've been open since mid-December. What is that process like?
My exterior signage isn't permitting. So I'm just waiting, counting the days till I get some email that says you're approved. Then we have to design.
And so have you called to check in with them since and say, hey, what level
like
and what is their answer to that?
The first was there is no answer. Just they say it does. There is no answer. It's with them.
What are they doing? Who is the sign permitter that approves
I don't know.
Who approves it and what are you doing? We would like to know. Maybe they have other things on their plate. I don't know. It's just a question. What are they doing? What is taking it so? Because it's affecting your livelihood, your business. People need to see what is inside here. You can't even put a sandwich board out there because they don't want you to do that.
But I will definitely having a sign company that knows the
you feel confident.
Like it's taken a lot.
And what's the name of that company?
Sign. They're out of Bluffton, but they work.
But they do a lot of work in Savannah, because it's right there.
But it's the way to go. I mean, and these signs are not cheap.
No,
they're not cheap.
I do know there was one business before we talk. We'll finish up in just a second, but there is a business that I know that had an awning. They replaced the awning, same color, whatever. But the awning, the business has been here for years and years and years. I won't call it out. But years, like one of the oldest restaurants, been around forever, replaced her awning, changed the font because the font was different. Something to do with the awning company. Like she couldn't get that font or whatever. So they changed it and they would not approve it. And do you know how much an awning costs?
Oh, I know.
Large awning.
I'm not going with it because of how much it cost. It was like,
she was at the MP, and back then it was through the MPC department. So I guess it's a different department now. But it was when I first started doing real estate and I was sitting there and I just wanted to hug her because she'd spent thousands of
Yeah.
dollars on this
How
awning.
about if a storm comes through and ruins your awning? The awning was $10,000. I was like, I'm not spending that much money
Oh my
on the
God.
awning. So we're getting a sign. But the other thing that goes into consideration with signage is hurricanes and the wind that comes through. And so they're very particular about, because they'll send out like an architect to approve the wind or something. Like, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Because
Like to have a hanging sign?
Yep. So you could get that, you could get approval for that sign, but then you have to pay additional. I think it's like,
Because they have to send an architect to approve it with the wind. This is all very fun.
so I'm doing a hanging sign that has a 4-dimension, and I'm doing.
Do you have to get that approved by the architect?
We're doing a wall
Decals on it.
wall mural. So like,
And so,
the bird
but those are
cookies.
separate permits. You have to get a separate permit for the hanging.
No, if you submit it all at once, I believe it's one, but I could be wrong. It's
Okay.
like $250 a permit.
But you're saying birds cookies.
Has a mural painted. So I've asked, our drawing is to paint Sea Love and what we do on this wall. In
Oh,
between
that's
the
a good
two
idea,
doors.
because then people will stop and know what's
Yeah.
inside.
Yep.
Well, I am so happy that you are in Savannah. I'm a big supporter.
We're happy to be here.
Yeah, and I'm a big supporter of small businesses because I have one.
Last thing, do you have any events coming up?
Yeah, let me just talk about Sea Love real fast.
Yeah,
so
let's do that.
we're a scent blending experience. So you can make candles or diffusers. We call ourselves a candle making bar, but we do diffusers and hope to have more different scent blending experiences in the future. All natural ingredients, cotton wicks. We have over 100 fragrances. So you can come in and pick up to 3 and blend your own fragrance.
Okay.
You can take that back to a memory, which a lot of people do. Maybe it's your grandmom's homemade cookies or blueberry muffins, and you try to make those scents come back to life. So we see that a lot. You sit down at the bar. It takes about 45 minutes to an hour, and you blend your own custom scent. You make your own label. You can name your own candle. So it's fine. You get to take it home. We have different sizes: small, large, diffusers again, and then we have 2 wick sizes. Our bar fits up to 20 people. So we take small parties, large parties, team building, company events.
We're sitting in her studio now, so those of you who are not on YouTube, it's a very large space. You could have corporate parties here. You could have, you could bring in, it's a good socializing thing to do for office. I know that my friend that has the hat business, she does that. They'll come in and design a hat together to just do something. There's a law office that does it. They'll go in to do something interactive with each other outside the office. So that, it's what I'm saying is she has the space to do it. Bachelorette parties.
So we do about 3 to 4 events a month, maybe give or take. And so we have a standing art show on the 3rd Thursday of every month. So the space window that we have over here, that artist that's featuring their art for that month will be displayed over there.
Love that.
So that's been a hit so far. We've done 2 so far. And then we do pop-ups, like you're saying.
Yeah.
So we have invited Mamie Ruth to come in and do design your own hat for the Kentucky Derby. But this month, what we have is permanent jewelry and fairy hair and feathers on St. Patrick's Day. So if you're in the area and you want to pop in and add some green to your hair or some bling to your wrist, you can do that.
Smart. It's so good to collab with other businesses and have pop-ups within here and for events like that.
Yeah.
It's so smart.
And we're doing wine bottle painting. Bring your own bottle and you'll get to paint it.
Oh, cool.
We're doing that this month. And then we have some more on the books. We're having a book signing called Power Up. It's an author in the area that'll be in the area. So she's going to do a book signing and relate it to candle making. So we have lots coming. We've done a few events. Lori, our store manager here, she also does pop-ups for us, and she has succulent plants that you can, a koi dish garden, or you can do wine bottles. So I've done that. So much fun.
Yeah.
So fun. You get your hands dirty.
Yeah, and that's a great way to, make that rent. You have to, retail can be hard. So having pop-ups, having events, and like I said, the space is so beautiful and big in here. It's no doubt in my mind that you'll be successful. But I feel like the biggest challenge has been getting started and going in the city. So I'm so happy that you
We're just trying to make people aware that we're here.
Yeah.
However you can do it.
I've met businesses that gave up. So
Don't give up.
In the beginning, it's a beautiful space on Broughton Street. We are so happy to have you in Savannah. Please, y'all stop by. Stop by. So tell us what's the exact address on
310 West Broughton. We're in
310
between T-Mobile and Walgreens.
Yeah. And it's right across from Kendra Scott. There's a lot.
Morgan Ray.
Morgan Ray, who's super popular. And
we've already collabed with her.
Yeah,
so that was
awesome.
a great first collab, but hope to do more. She did charm bracelets and purse charms. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah, something different.
We're so happy to have you here. I'm so proud of you for making it through the process. And
I'm a survivor.
And you're going to help so many people. Just this conversation, I appreciate you so much in going detail by detail, because there are lots. I have a commercial real estate license, so I help. I usually help the business, not the landlord. And it is. It's good that you had a realtor that could help you navigate that. It's good that you have a good signage person who can help you navigate the permitting for that. But my goal here is to help someone who's thinking about it, or who is currently intimidated by the process, or who has gone through it and they won't feel alone. And then hopefully maybe it'll shed some light, and maybe they can figure out a different system that supports small businesses.
It's almost like you need someone to hold your hand through the whole thing. Like the town should just give you someone. Here's your personal representative that's going to get you through all this.
That's not a bad idea.
It's a lot.
Yeah, so I'm so happy that you made it. The space is beautiful. There's no doubt in my mind that you're going to be super successful. I'd like to have you on again and follow up later and see how you're doing and catch up with you and, promote the business a little more. But I thank you so much for sharing the process.
And I'm glad we got to today.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Thank you.